Hi, Dr. Mark Holchlaw here at Natural Health Chiropractic Center. We're starting our patient education workshop for this evening. Quick little introduction. Been in practice for 37 years, doing chiropractic and nutrition. We use whole food nutritional supplements here. We'll get into that a little bit later. We're also doing this, of course, on Facebook Live. I have an audience here too tonight. And if you have any questions, you can put those in the comment section. We'll take questions for a while, especially towards the end. Our topic tonight is brain on fire, how to calm it down. So we're going to talk a little bit about what it takes for the brain to be able to work normally. There's a couple of handouts we have. If you come into the office, we can get you some of these. The first one is a little handout on the gut and how the gut works. And so you can look through it. You can get these pictures online too, but it shows the microvilli and the tight junctions in the gut, and then it also shows on this side where you start getting leaky gut syndrome. So, and that comes from all kind of problems, all kind of reasons. They're listed on the bottom here. So a lot of things going on that can cause that. Like nutrient malabsorption, autoimmunity, food intolerances, blood-brain barrier, systemic inflammation, all kind of things going on, the pathogens in there. So the gut is real important, and what it has to do with the brain is another handout we have called Natural Health and GAPS. Now, GAPS is the gastrointestinal and psychological syndrome. It was first written out by Dr. Natasha, and she is a PhD, but had a son who has some issues with ADD, ADHD. And so she developed this diet and kind of did a lot of research into why that's a problem. And so she developed the gastrointestinal psychological syndrome, and she has a cookbook that goes with it. But a lot of importance there goes into the gut and how the brain works. Now, on a general nutritional side, most people that are eating high sugar diets burn up a lot of B vitamins to use the sugar. And again, we're talking really here about processed sugars. The problem with processed sugars are it basically turns it into a drug. It has no nutritional value. The body likes the glucose and fructose from sugar, and it uses it for energy, but it burns up a lot of nutrients for the body to be able to use it. And so that causes all kinds of problems with the nervous system. So the autonomic nervous system is divided into the sympathetic and parasympathetic system. The parasympathetic system is a system that must come up when the body wants to calm down. And so normally it's a real very sensitive to B vitamins and the lack thereof. So we use a lot of B vitamins in our office to help patients to be able to calm down, not only in the brain but the gut. Again, there's a very, very close connection there. And sugar also causes a lot of dopamine release in the brain because of the way that works in the body. It increases insulin and dopamine, and so it becomes actually that's the reason for the addiction to sugar, and why people have a hard time with that. And again, the more you're on sugar, the more problems we have with brain function and the body's ability for that to work normally. Sugar also causes lots of problems with the gut, again, leading towards leaky gut problems, the increase in yeast, all kind of bad bacteria, different things go on in the gut. So a lot of problems with the gut there. Now, another handout that I've gotten a hold of, it looks at how to stay calm among crisis. Now, this handout has a lot to do with different ways that you can help yourself to calm down, like breathing. Try to remember about breathing. People a lot of times forget that they were supposed to breathe. So if you get really stressed out, just stopping for a minute and trying to breathe is real important. And then basically talking about the habits of learning to relax. They had some different things here, different ways about, I think, breathing exercises, guided imagery, progressive muscle relaxation, self-hypnosis, rhythmic movement, meditation. All these things are good. They're important, but it's also important that the body has the nutrition it needs to be able to work correctly. And coming from a chiropractic background, we must have a nervous system working correctly so that it can work as it's supposed to and be calm. So in our office, we have the 3 types of treatments we use. The nutritional thing we're talking about tonight with nutrition response testing, be able to give the body what it needs, B vitamins, minerals, whatever it needs to help the parasympathetic nervous system to come up. We have the chiropractic side where we adjust the nervous system to get it to work correctly so there's not a lot of irritation there. And we have the emotional energy side to help the body train itself to relax and rid itself of unnecessary emotions. So we'll keep that in mind as we go through the rest of our information here. Again, if you have any questions, we're pretty informal, so you can put them in the comment section. Any questions that you have? No? Okay, good. So that's a pretty good discussion there on that.
We do have one. How do I know what supplements I need to kind of calm the brain down?
So we're going to come to that pretty quickly. I mentioned nutrition response testing technique. We're going to come to that on my high-tech presentation boards here pretty soon. I'll explain what that is. But we just have a technique that we use in the office to be able to help the body, help the person determine what nutrition they need. And again, look at digestion, what's going on in there. A catchphrase we use in the office is anything can cause anything. So many times the symptoms that we have, say an overworked brain, or even words like anxiety, depression, panic attacks, those things, like the red light on the dashboard of your car blinking, something's going on in here, I need help. So what we do with our testing procedures, figure out what is it? What does the body need? What's going on in there? We try to stay away from medications, of course, because medications just cover up the symptom, like putting black tape on the dashboard light. So that's again a treatment, but not a very good way of helping underlying causes. And if you're using medication, you're just covering it up over and over and over. So we're looking at underlying causes, which again we'll explain here in a little bit. I'm going to go into our goodie bag, and we have quite a few handouts that we have. If you ever come to one of our patient education workshops, we'll have this for you too. So the first one is called Myths and Truths About Nutrition. And this is going into all the information you see in the mainstream on the internet, all about nutrition. It's very confusing. One person is telling you this, one person is telling you that. There's a lot of good information, but again, a lot of it is sales. So everybody's selling their thing, and of course we understand that, but people's health suffer, and we try to work towards what is truth and also what works. That is our main goal here in our office. So myths and truths, we'll kind of go over a couple of these so you kind of get an idea of what I'm talking about here. So one of the big ones we had, to avoid heart disease, we should use margarine instead of butter. Well, the actual truth is that margarine eaters have twice the rate of heart disease as butter eaters. So why is that? Well, for one thing, the cholesterol program is not as big a deal as it has made out to be in the last 50 years. So we can explain a lot more about that. That's a whole nother night. Margarine, though, is a form of plastic. It's just a couple steps away from plastic. Never was meant to be used as a food. So the body doesn't like margarine. And so it likes butter. It's been raised on butter forever and ever, and knows how to work with butter. So butter is better. It's a good fat, good source of essential fatty acids, and so margarine is just, again, a non-food. Another one, they have last one here, beef causes colon cancer. Well, the truth is Argentina with higher beef consumption has lower rates of colon cancer than U.S. Mormons, which have a lower rate of colon cancer than the vegetarian Seventh-day Adventists. So the idea there is it's not meat. Human beings have been eating meat forever and ever for thousands and thousands of years. The problem is again, we have a leaky gut issue we talked about. We have problems with digestion. The body's not able to digest meats. So then it becomes a problem. It sits in the gut, causes problems. Well, again, it's not really the cause. It's just what happens when people's bodies don't work right and digestion is off. So good. The next handout we have, our health, what exactly is the problem? I like to always read these first two paragraphs. They're really kind of tell the tale here. As we have drifted into this deplorable position of national malnutrition quite inadvertently, it is a result of scientific research with the objective of finding the best ways to create foods that are non-perishable, that can be made by mass production methods in central factories and distributed so cheaply that they can sweep all local competition from the market. Then, after develops a suspicion that these quote-unquote foods, like margarine, are inadequate to support life, modern advertising steps in to propagandize the people to believing that there's nothing wrong with them, that they are the products of scientific research intended to produce a food that's the last word because of value, and the confused public is totally unable to arrive at any conclusion of fact and continues to blindly buy the rubbish that is killing them off years ahead of their time. It's written by Dr. Royal Lee. Dr. Royal Lee was an engineer, and he became a dentist to help figure out why kids were having cavities. This is written like about between 70 and 90 years ago. This is way before McDonald's and Dunkin' Donuts and all the fast food things we have going on out there. Dr. Lee is also the inventor of standard process nutrition, the nutrition line we carry. He's a genius in how to figure out ways of getting nutrition supplements into the body that were active, the enzymes are still active, the nutrition is very available to the body, and they did an excellent job there. And that's our main line of nutritional supplements, a whole food nutrition, not synthetics, not things taken from coal tar or synthetic sources, are things that are single vitamin taken out of food context. So that's why our stuff works. So the next page we have here is a little sugar quiz. And I'm going to go ahead, there's a pencil in your goodie bag. You can go ahead and take that quiz. And then I'm going to explain our first high-tech presentation board here. So on our little board, we have a triangle, kind of a microcosm of the human body. In one corner is nutritional deficiency, the other corner is organ dysfunction, and then disease. And we're talking about really any type of degenerative disease. So for instance, a cardiovascular problem, bypasses and all that, that's degenerative disease of the cardiovascular system. Diabetes is a degenerative disease of the sugar handling systems of the body. Cancer, degenerative disease of the immune system of the body. So you kind of get the idea, most all diseases are a degenerative type disease. So again, the more nutritional deficiency you have, the more organ dysfunction you have, the more degenerative disease you have. And our goal is to reverse that, of course, by working on a nutritional deficiency corner there. So how far did you get?
Oh, I was listening.
That's okay, good. So go ahead. That's good. Okay. I'm going to take this off and put this one on. So a quick interesting thing about sugar. You've heard, I'm sure, that the body can burn sugar. Sugar's used for energy. Sugar's good for you. Sugar's in nature. Sugar's in fruit. That kind of thing. Well, you have to really start looking at the difference between what is natural sugar and what is processed refined sugar. Processed refined sugar, again, is sugar taking out of food context. So then it becomes something the body was really never meant to have. It's never meant to have that type of concentration of it, and all the minerals and proteins and starch and fibers all been taken out. It's just plain sugar. And so when you add that to, like I said, greasy donuts, fried donuts, you're just asking for trouble. I mean, it just makes sense to people. So if you look at our diagram here with sugar on the top, it works the same way. The more sugar you eat, the more nutritional deficiency you have, the more organ dysfunction you have. And again, because of this dopamine thing going on, the body loves it. It craves sugar. People just get eating more and more sugar. And so you just have a big negative spiral. And that's a reason for all the degenerative diseases that are rampant in the United States and really the world. How far did you get it?
Down to the candy.
Okay. So go ahead and finish up. I'm going to read the bottom there, the test results. So we have a little sugar quiz that we have our patients or our visitors take. And so basically, if your answer falls to more than 4 of the statements, chances are you're probably sugar sensitive. you're probably allergic to sugar and also addicted to it. The same way an alcoholic is addicted to alcohol, or the same way cocaine addicts, it's the same addiction. And actually sugar is more addictive than alcohol and cocaine. You crave sugar, have withdrawal symptoms, you don't get it, and probably feel better for a short time after you've eaten it. In eating sugar to feel better, you are actually making the condition worse. Again, for what we talked about here, you're getting lots of energy, but you're not getting any way to repair the body. And so that makes it worse. And of course, you're burning up the B vitamins. You're constantly in a state of fight or flight, a stress state. Your body just can't calm down. Your brain is just working all the time. So that's all tied together with that. So if you answered false to 4 statements or fewer, it doesn't mean you don't have a problem with sugar. You may not be addicted to it, but perhaps you don't realize just how much sugar you're eating. So I'm not going to ask you what your score was. You have to figure that out. So that's no problem. And then, so you can look. You should be pretty good by now because you know what we're up to. So good. So then we have a handout: 146 ways why sugar is ruining your health, written by Dr. Nancy Appleton. And you can get that book even in Amazon, wherever. 101 Reasons Sugar is Ruining Your Health. Nancy Appleton, PhD. But it's just a list of all the degenerative diseases, and it's just what goes on there. Sugar's many disguises. I think we're at about 72 different names for sugar. Our list here has about 60, but I think we're up to 72 different names. So the manufacturers get very creative at figuring these things out. So, for instance, one of the first ones here is called agave nectar. It sounds like something from the gods. It should be really good for you, all that kind of thing. But it's still refined sugar. They're taking the sugar out of the food context, and it's still refined sugar. All these things are refined sugar. Processed honey is refined sugar. White sugar, of course. High fructose corn syrup, refined sugar. The body's never meant to have it like that. The 3 tastes. The body has a taste for sugar, salt, and fats. We've been programmed that way to be able to live through famines. And so we have to have sugar, salt, and fats. The body can use sugar, but again, from a natural source, food source, like a starch, like potatoes and things like that. That is a slow burn type of sugar. The body uses over time. But things like donuts and candy bars, that's a real fast sugar. It causes all kinds of problems with insulin handling in the body, causes a lot of weight gain, and again, brain function, all kinds of problems because of the lack of nutrition with that chemical. There's also a YouTube video called "Is Sugar Toxic?" It's hosted by Dr. Robert Lustig. He's a great guy to watch. He has a YouTube channel, but he goes into a lot of depth in the sugar handling in the body, biochemistry there. So really a good bunch of videos to watch. Good. So we'll go into what we do in the office to help patients to rid themselves of all these degenerative problems. And we had the question before, nutrition response testing. That's the technique that we use. Nutrition response testing is just a way for us to quickly ask the body what it needs to be healthy, what it wants, what problems it's having, and then what nutrition the body can use for that purpose. So I think I have my assistant here. He was here. He may not be. So I'll have my other assistant coming here. This is my son Eddie. He's my energy coach and works with me on nutritional work. So we're going to demonstrate how this works. So over the years, I've done different types of testing, blood work, urine analysis, hair analysis, salivary testing, and those tests are great for certain problems, but they're basically looking for disease states. They're not really looking for nutritional needs or what's going on there. So with nutrition response testing, we use an arm strength test. Now, it's a real simple thing, and it works on the basis of hypothermia. Now, hypothermia, to explain that, if you're going to go out in the wintertime, you're going to go ice skating, and you fall into the lake or the pond, whatever, get back out. Well, to get back to the warmth, your body will sacrifice the appendages to keep the core alive. So that's the principle here, is that the body wants to keep the core alive, the brain, the heart, the organs, keep that alive. So we'll sacrifice the appendages. So how that works is when we do an arm strength test, and the arm is nice and strong, if I find an organ when I do my analysis that is weak, the body will pull the energy from the appendage to support that area. So for instance, if I go to the heart and press on the heart, irritate that area, push the arm down and it goes unlocked, that means that the heart has some weakness. Not a particular disease state, but just a nutritional weakness that we can help with our supplements. So then I know in my brain power, Cardio Plus is a great supplement for that. If I put the energy of that nutrition on the body and ask the body that heart problem again and it stays strong, that means that this nutrition will help that problem in that person. So it's a real simple way of figuring out what does that body need. And of course, the technique is a lot more complicated, a lot more levels to it than that. But that gives you the general idea of how this works. Arm strength testing is not voodoo, it's not magic. It's just a matter of using this principle of hypothermia. Now, like everything else, it can be abused, but not in our office. We use it all the time. People just love it. They can feel when the problem is there. So thank you very much. Good job. So great. So then, as we're working with nutrition response testing to figure these things out, we design a clinical nutrition approach for that person. So what that means, again, is that design means it's just for that person, not for everybody else. It's not a multiple vitamin that you just, here, try this. No, it's designed for that person individually. It's clinical, which means that it works. That's what we do here, is clinical nutrition, not research, not marketing. We're doing what works, and we have ways of determining that based on our testing procedure. And whole food nutrition. So it's just food. We're not using medications. We're not using weird things. We're just using food to help heal the body, what the body's supposed to have. So we give the body a lot of what it needs to be healthy. Going back into our handouts, there's a handout we have that looks at testimonials from other patients. We have thousands of patients over the years, and we have testimonials from many of them. They're actually pretty entertaining. You can get a hold of those. But we deal with all kind of problems, anything you can think of in the body, any disease process. We've dealt with all of them and had good results in those that will follow the program. Nutrition response testing, a little more handout on that one, more information about that. Then we have a couple lab tests. I'm going to skip that one, but this one's really interesting. It's all redacted out. It looks at the vitamin D levels and how we increase the vitamin D levels without adding vitamin D. And we also look at the A1C levels. We got that, lowered that, again, just by changing diet, but not anything else on the, no particular nutrition for that, just by getting the body healthy. So I'm going to go ahead and come in here and introduce my other son, Dr. Chip. Hello. So this is my chiropractic backup. So Dr. Chip's here to help with that. And we're going to have a patient education workshop one of these nights where we'll introduce everybody, kind of go through what we do individually. So that gives you an idea of what he's doing too. So we have Eddie doing the emotional and energy and nutritional backup. Dr. Chip does all the chiropractic work, and I'm doing the nutritional work. So we keep things moving pretty quick in here. It works. It's a lot of fun. Yeah, thanks. Great. Okay, good. So good. So we'll go to the last board here. Good. Now, if you come into our patient education workshop, we have a public education workshop screening form here that you can get a hold of, and if you fill it out, we will, since you spend the time to come in, we will do a free initial nutrition exam to help figure out what's going on. Also, since you are taking the time to watch this on video tonight, and if you come into the office and use the password Cloverleaf, CLOVERLEAF, during this next week, we'll do the same thing. We'll do a free initial nutrition exam and just see what we can find. We really like to do these things. We really like to help people out because there's so many people out there that are just sick and they're carrying all this sickness along with them. They're taking all this medication. The debt load is awful. The insurances don't cover that stuff a lot of times. So we just really like to help people get off of unnecessary medications. It's just a great thing. So anybody that you know, that friends, relatives, happy to help anybody. Our last board here, we're looking at, when we do our nutritional work, overall health. Now, most people that come in have a list of symptoms and the problems that are bringing them in here, the red light on the dashboard blinking, they know something's wrong, but they can't figure out what to do about it. Or they've got medications that's cost too much, or it's making them sicker. And so we work at trying to look at underlying problems. If we get the underlying problems under control, diet and different things, we can affect the overall health and get a person, quote unquote, healthy. So now the mainstream definition of healthcare is basically disease maintenance. They'll wait till you get a disease and they'll maintain it. Treat it with that kind of thing. Again, that's fine, but it doesn't get to underlying causes. We're looking at health as getting the body to optimum, getting the organs working at optimum, getting everything healthy so the body can be well and not get sick all the time and not have all kind of problems. What we're using is safe and natural. We're just using food, so it's a natural thing, safe. There's no medication, so anybody can use it. We use it on babies. We use it on older people. Maybe we can use it with people that are on lots of medications and just try to work by getting underlying causes. So some of the medications we can get rid of some of those. So there's really a huge safety factor here. No problem with any things we do. The worst thing that can happen is that nothing happens. So that never happens. We always get good results. Again, if people will stay with the program, we can do, the body can do amazing things as it heals itself. It has the ability to heal itself. You have to let it, you have to get out of the way so it can do that. So if you're eating ding-dongs all day, it's not going to get well on its own. Some more handouts we have. There's a book list. There's all kind of books you can get a hold of that talk about this. There's a website list that you can get, all kind of websites that can give information. One of my favorites is the westonprice.org, westonaprice.org. Dr. Price was around at the same time as Dr. Lee and did a lot. He was a dentist as well, and he's done a lot of traveling around the world, understanding how the nutrition affects everyone. A lot of organic information there, organic growing, organic eating, a lot of good information there on that website. Also the one, www.drugs.com. If you're on any kind of medications and you want to find out the side effects and things, really good place to go. It has information there for the patient and the doctor, so you can really get some in-depth information there. But a lot of other good ones too. There's a lot of videos on YouTube. If you like McDonald's, you can go to the one called Super Size Me and you won't go back to McDonald's again. But just being aware, there's lots of things out there. Hungry for Change, that's good ones. A lot of good videos, information to get a hold of. The New Childhood in America. So 1 in 3 is overweight. 1 in 6 have learning disabilities. 1 in 10 is ADHD. We're up to 1 in 58. 54 males has autism. 1 in 88 has autism. So it's just a lot of problems. The healthcare in the United States, the health, I should say, in the United States is getting worse. We have more diabetes, there's more obesity, there's more heart problems, and we spend the most money of any industrialized nation on our healthcare, and it's one of the worst because of, again, the things we eat is a big part of it. So we want to try to help prevent kids from having more and more problems. This little handout looks at the spine and the organs it affects, and the nutritional supplements that we can use to help that. Again, with a basic basis in chiropractic, we're looking at getting the nervous system to work correctly. And we like this philosophy of chiropractic. We like that because we don't have drugs or surgery to work with. So we have to figure out how to help the body nutritionally, mechanically, and emotionally. So it works very well. My basic diet recommendations, we had patients just do a basic diet of proteins in the morning, salads for lunch, and proteins, vegetables for evening. It's kind of the basic diet. It's not real hard, it's just different. And let people eat, all kind of things, just getting away from the sugars is the big one. And it sounds easy just to stop eating sugar, but it's hard because people are so used to it. In our society, we have so many available times to get a hold of sugar. Good. So, is there any other questions? Do you have any questions?
So basically what you're saying is the sugar gets you going, and if you come off the sugar, then your brain's gonna calm down.
Yeah, the sugar, yeah, that's a big part of it. It's even a lot more complicated than that, because the sugar and the energy, keeps you going, but unfortunately, the body has to use its mineral stores to burn the sugar when you're using processed sugar. And again, a lot of that is B vitamins. And the B vitamins are necessary to be able to calm the nerves down. If you get rid of all your B vitamins, well, the nerves can't calm down. So then you're just in a constant state of this sympathetic, oversympathetic nervous system, the fight or flight, constantly like you're under stress all the time. You have a hard time relaxing. A lot of people that have a problem with this have a hard time going to sleep or a hard time staying asleep. And that's, again, usually a big problem with the lack of B vitamins there. So, and then again, we're always looking at gut problems because the gut kind of is the second brain, produces a lot of the neurotransmitters and things there too. If there's no overgrowth of yeast, then we have problems with the toxins from that cause problems. Also, there's another growing science on lectins. And lectins are something like gluten. They're a protein that can even get past the blood-brain barrier and cause problems. So that's kind of we're looking at maybe the cause of Alzheimer's and some of those things too. So there's a lot of things that we investigate here in our office, trying to figure out what's behind the problems. Any other questions? Anything?
No.
Good. Any other questions, team?
I don't think so.
Okay, good. So I think that's about it for the night. We'll try to keep these short and simple. We're trying to go by the KISS principle, keep it simple and sane. So we're trying to explain things. If you have any questions, you can always put it on the comments below. We'll answer it next time, or come by the office, or just give us a call. So again, thanks from Natural Chiropractic Center. Have a great evening.